Hello, friends. As we know that the space race is brewing up, and today Mr. Elon Musk announced that by 2026 he will be basically launching his mission to settle the humans permanently for a long-term duration on the surface of Mars. However, today's discussion is about, believe it or not, India and China teaming up with Russia to basically create a power station for the moon colony. So this is very significant, and why this is very significant, because traditionally China and India has a lot of issues right from the beginning. Right after the independence was awarded to both the countries, there has been major issues. However, it is very surprising that India, China and Russia have decided to jointly build a massive nuclear power plant on the surface of the moon. And this is quite significant. This is a very, very important move. And these three countries teaming up together basically bring the huge boost to the initiatives of mankind to establish the long-term permanent basis establishment on the surface of the moon. And they are talking about building a massive nuclear power plant. That means, when the power plant is ready, the power plant will provide lot of power to the human settlement, and irrespective of whether it is day or night, and using that power, which is the constant power coming from the nuclear power plant, humans on the moon will be able to produce many things like water, can do mining, can generate atmosphere, and to do any of these things you need constant flow of power. And this nuclear power, which is going to be established in partnership with India, China and Russia on the surface of moon, will actually provide all of that. So this is a very different, very exciting information when these three, especially India and China, rival nations, they are trying to team up and going to the moon, jointly building a power center, because without power nothing will happen on the surface of the moon. If there is no power, there will be no survivability on the surface of the moon. There will be no power to generate your fuel for return journey. There will be no power to power your machines. There will be no power to generate your atmosphere, grow fields, cultivate vegetables, generate water, etc. So this is a very important thing, because so far we have heard about Artemis program, and they are talking about simple things like solar cells, etc. Although the NASA is also contemplating building a nuclear power plant on the surface of the moon, but something like a small one. India, China and Russia have announced that they will team up to build a massive nuclear power plant which will supply constant power to the lunar colonies, to the future lunarites who actually travel from these three nations. Maybe more will join, and therefore this is something which is very significant. Now let's look at why it is significant for India, and especially with regard to China. We know that the China and India are the global rivals when it comes to population. Of course, population is there, and therefore the trained population, very workaholic population, and huge amount of humanity lives in China and India. If you look at these two countries globally, then nearly 50% of the global population reside in these two countries. And at the same time, both the countries have issues. They have border issues which may not be solved. In fact, although in the news it looks like there are a lot of hostilities between the two nations, but in reality it's not too much of a hostile environment on the border, although the dispute is there between India and China. And both nations have very strong army, very strong navy and air force. Therefore, having this kind of armed forces, both can actually fight with each other, but they are not doing that. So hostility is not too much, although in the news it looks like that the two nations are very hostile to each other. However, this border dispute, which is the core concern between two nations, but that is not stopping India and China from teaming up for the lunar colony. So this is what is happening, and this is something which is very, very significant. So when we look at India and China solving their issues and teaming up together, this is very, very significant, and it's very diplomatic approach, because on the moon you don't want to basically get bogged down by the issues that you have on the earth, right? So this is something which is different. So it's a very diplomatic, and especially for India, where for their different initiative, space missions like Gaganyaan, etc. India is also teaming up with United States. In fact, India has also signed up with Artemis mission to basically look at to contribute to the American space program also. So this is very, very significant. Now let's look at the last point, that is why countries are racing to build the nuclear power plant on the surface of the moon. Well, it is important because we need to build the power plant on the surface of the moon simply because we need power, and nuclear power plants are very long lasting solution for generating power. Once you arm the nuclear power plant, it basically keep producing power for continuously for 20 to 30 years. And this is why it is so important, so significant. And without power, you can't use, if you don't have any adequate power, you will not be able to use the significant part of your conversion mechanism, where you can actually generate atmosphere and generate water for your colonists. Therefore, all countries are racing towards building the nuclear power plant. Especially these three nations have, these are very, very significant nations, which is India, China and Russia. They have decided to team up and build a nuclear power plant on the surface of the moon, which is very, very important. And this looks like a master stroke, because by using this master stroke, they will be able to resolve their issues which are present on the earth itself. And they can actually look at how we can get rid of the situation that we have between the two nations. And when they are actually jointly going together, that means the future towards the moon, that means there will be no issues in future. Also, for India, their space program is slightly delayed because we started late. The Russians are very advanced in their space exploration, also China. So India is have decided so far that they will be sending their people to the surface of the moon by 2040. All right, but in the meanwhile, they will actually contribute to building a nuclear power plant on the surface of the moon. So very exciting. It looks like humanity is moving in the right direction, and there will be a brighter future for all of us. So I'd like to know from you, what do you think about this? And if you have any opinion, I will be more than eager to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one.